So let us know how that goes. We do have Interstate 10. TxDOT is actually, Tracy, Interstate 10 when it comes to closures. I-10 has been closed. We just want to make sure everyone knows in both directions. So both directions at the Louisiana state line. So you can go east or west. Those in Louisiana can't come to us. We can't go to them. So when it comes to I-10, you cannot take I-10 and still, let's see here. We are seeing something in Bridge City. Let me update this real quick so I can make sure I'm telling you correctly. So this is Groves. Okay, so those are the bridges. So the Rainbow Bridge and the Veterans Bridge still closed at this time due to high winds, not water. But other than that, the only other thing we're seeing is down on the coastline. And that's right there at 124 and 87 at Bolivar Peninsula, which is the norm. We know TxDOT has been working on that, trying to improve that road right there, because just on a normal storm, on everyday storm, 87 at 124 got a lot of rain, flooding damage, and the Bolivar Peninsula residents, they started petitions. They were talking back and forth to TxDOT, and TxDOT has been working on that road right here. But we are dealing with a storm, and so that road is closed again this morning. Jeff, what's the latest you can tell us?
Well, it looks like the rain is starting to move out in parts of southeast Texas, so that's some good news there. As we take a look at the center of the storm, and now working its way up towards Vernon Parish, still seeing some of the stronger winds on the east side of this storm, still looking at wind gusts up near hurricane strength or over hurricane strength. You can see the west side of the eye not looking that healthy. We do see this one band of rain moving through parts of Jasper and Newton County. That's kind of swirling its way back down towards the south. Now that's going to produce some wind gusts, probably up around 50 to 60 miles per hour. So could see a few additional power outages there. And then as you get back towards Hardin County, the rain's starting to move out. We're not really seeing any rain on radar across Jefferson County, so things are starting to dry out here. Our winds are starting to come down. We're seeing winds steady more close to about 15 to 25 and some gust up into the 30s. So improving conditions across Jefferson County. We're talking about Beaumont, Port Arthur, Mid-County, places like that. So that stuff is all shoving off towards the north and eventually off towards the north and east. And let me get out of the way and let's show you the forecast as we head in towards this morning by 8 o'clock. Still some wraparound rain as we head up into parts of Jasper and Newton County. Temperatures should be into the 70s this morning. As we get towards 10 o'clock, still maybe a little bit of wraparound here and there. And then as we get into this afternoon, we'll see temperatures, I believe, up close to about 90 degrees, as we'll see some cloud cover. I think most of the rain should be out of here as we head towards this afternoon. We'll dry out a little bit, and then as we head into the overnight hours, into the evening hours, we'll see temperatures back into the 80s, and then overnight we're expecting to see 70s for lows going into tomorrow morning. A couple of showers could start to develop still as some moisture comes in off the Gulf of Mexico as we head towards tomorrow. I think most of the activity is probably going to be off towards our east into parts of southwest Louisiana early on Friday, and then Friday once again we could see some showers start to develop as we get into the afternoon. But we'll see fairly dry conditions. I think Friday afternoon we'll still see about a 50% chance of some scattered showers, and we'll see that through the weekend. And we still have lots of tropical moisture left over from the storm, even though it's going to be moving off towards the north and east. Still a lot of moisture around to deal with, so when we get into the heat of the day, we'll see some typical showers and maybe a few thunderstorms as we go towards Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Still dealing with the center of the storm just off towards our east and up towards the lakes area. It'll continue to move north through the afternoon.
All right, Jeff, how quickly get that out of the area? I guess by the rest of today, then we're done with it?
Yeah, I'm thinking by about 9 o'clock or so. Most of it should be lifting north of the area. Winds will probably slowly come down by, let's say, lunchtime. What gust we see, maybe around 30 to 40 miles per hour towards the lake, should start to come down as well.
All right, we've already seen how quickly it can dissipate there in Louisiana, almost a Cat 5, and then we saw it come down, and now it's about a Category 2 storm there.
Yeah, excuse me, and it looks like those winds are going to come down fairly quickly as the storm goes further inland. So right now, we're looking at about 110. I'm expected to be maybe below 100 over the next hour or so.
All right, good news. And for those that further north, still some tropical storm type system, or just do you think a little rain?
I still think that as far as I mean, we're still seeing the center of the storm. So as far as we see that eye still hanging around, you still could see some wind gusts upwards of 50, 60 miles per hour.
All right.
Up north, not necessarily here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now good news is it's almost gone. If you've been waiting all night, somebody said it's almost like you're waiting for, when you get home, you get in trouble, and when your parent gets home that you're going to get in trouble when they walk through the door, and you wait and wait and wait. The inevitable is coming. And all through the night we were waiting. How much damage will we get? Where will it go? What will happen? So almost past that, and then we can start to go to work and get things picked back up. So good news there. All right.
All right, and Tracy, I want to make mention too, and Jeff, you can probably hit on this. We've talked about this. If you look at the lower part of your screen, Laura, the most powerful hurricane to hit southwest Louisiana. That's an important note because we all know about that 1957 storm. Jeff?
Yeah, and we're talking about Audrey. And Audrey was, we talked about earlier, was a storm that nobody was expecting. They all went to bed on that night before thinking that, okay, they said it wasn't going to be a big deal, shouldn't be a big storm. It really intensified overnight just off the coast. And by the time folks were waking up the next morning, they had water up to their bed, or they stepped down into water. And that's why over 300 people died, because they weren't expecting it. And of course, the forecasting was not quite as good back then as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, Laura has started moving inland north through Louisiana. Let's go to the top 3 things you need to know as you are maybe just waking up after trying to get some shut-eye last night. Laura, moving inland over Louisiana, storm surge is ongoing. Also, Jefferson County Judge Jeff Brannick saying, quote, "We dodged a bullet. Minor damage reported in Jefferson County." He walked into work this morning into the Jefferson County Courthouse with a smile on his face. Big relief for him knowing his residents did dodge a bullet. And number 3, widespread power outages all across southeast Texas. We are monitoring Entergy this morning. Tens of thousands of people without power in the Beaumont area and Orange County, Mid-County, Port Arthur. That's where we're seeing the most. So widespread power outages all across southeast Texas. When it comes to Beaumont, we do have a crew there. Let's go to Amelia White, who's standing by with what it's looking like outside right now. Good morning to you. What can you tell us?
Vanessa and Tracy, for the last few minutes, things have pretty calmed down over here. As you can see, the rain has officially cleared out for the most part. The wind is still pretty steady. We're just about a little over an hour away from sunrise. Everything we're seeing right now is what we expected. We said this was going to be a fast storm, and as for the storm, we're preparing to see a clear scene shortly. Soon the focus will shift from tracking Hurricane Laura to the aftermath of Hurricane Laura. Now, Judge Jeff Brannick said we're just seeing minimal reports of damages, and that's a good sign. Once the storm fully passes through, we'll take a look around town to see what damages, or if there are any at all. But I think it's pretty safe to say Beaumont, we're in a good shape. Live in Beaumont, Amelia White, 12 Days.
The radar images is showing that the storm is starting to move past the coast, past Beaumont, and start moving inland at this time. So good to see in Beaumont that rain is kind of subsiding and the winds are slowing down. We like to see that as we hit 5:30 on this Thursday. Right? What day is it?
It's
Thursday. No sleep. We're working around the clock. They kind of
right.
all just combine, and Thursday. I had to think about that for a second. Port Arthur, let's look at your power outages. 15,000 people now. That has gone up significantly just since the last time we checked, just about 15 minutes ago. Also in Port Arthur, taking a look at another number there, another 9,000. So we're close to the 25,000 mark in Port Arthur. It's a lot of people for that city, about half. Going to Beaumont, 22,000 people in the Beaumont area. That's customers now affected. This is 25,000 zooming in here. This is in the Pinehurst, Orange, West Orange area. And then when you zoom in, you can really pinpoint your area. Let's go to Bridge City, 5,700 customers without power there. Moving on up to Orange, 6,900. Mauriceville, let's check in on you. 3,300 customers without power now. I did pass up Mid-County. I don't want to ignore you because we have been seeing more red than green in the Mid-County area and a lot of numbers for Mid-County. So Nederland area, 2,500 right there. Let's see if, okay, Nederland, zooming into Nederland, another 1,000 and 6,000. And I'm zooming into neighborhoods, so that's kind of giving you a general idea from different neighborhoods. Let's see. It's taking it a second. Central Gardens area, 200 in that area. Near the airport, another 1,600. 8,000 right there also in the Nederland area. So we're seeing some outages in Port Arthur. Those numbers have seemed to go up a little bit. Nederland, Port Neches, Beaumont, as you can see, I'm gonna zoom in here, a lot of green, hardly any red. So good news for you. But in Orange County, look at that, a lot of red. So we're seeing more outages there in Orange County, Tracy.
Yeah, Orange County took a pretty good hit, and Judge John Gauthier is still telling people who want to come back, you know, they're saying, okay, we didn't get as much damage as we thought. Can we move back in? He's saying, not yet. Yeah. We want to assess the roads, make sure it's safe before you move back into the area. Of course, Southeast Texas did dodge a bullet, so to speak, in the amount of damage that we thought we'd get in the storm surge and that type of thing. Lake Charles, not so lucky. Even one report saying that some of those high-rise skyscrapers look like Swiss cheese this morning with a lot of their windows blown out and holes in those buildings. So RJ Gray is on the grounds there in Lake Charles. Let's go to him now.
Laura crashing into the Gulf Coast early Thursday morning, the most powerful hurricane to ever cross the shoreline near the Texas-Louisiana border.
We are anticipating catastrophic damages.
From a major Category 4 hurricane with sustained winds of 150 miles an hour, gusts even stronger. More than a foot of rain in some areas, and what the National Hurricane Center calls an unsurvivable and potentially historic storm surge. At just 3 feet, the surge can be life-threatening. At 6 feet, the waves can smash through windows and doors. At 9 feet, entire neighborhoods can be swallowed. Laura's storm surge could crest at 20 feet.
To think that there would be a wall of water over 2 stories high coming on shore is very difficult for most to conceive, but that is what is going to happen.
And Laura will continue to wreak havoc as it pushes inland.
We could have 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts up to southern Arkansas. So we expect millions of people to be without power by Thursday evening. And then we have to deal with possibly even some rainfall and flooding in Tennessee and Kentucky.
This massive storm tonight, just beginning its assault. Jay Gray, NBC News, Lake Charles, Louisiana.
All right, so yeah, the difference, right, between our reporters in Southeast Texas and then they're just a few minutes away from Southeast Texas across the border. So that, as Jeff was saying, as Patrick was saying, if the storm shifts just a couple miles more to us, then we have significant amount of damage, a lot more than we've seen. So
right, and you know, and Southeast Texas knows this. We knew the general idea of where this storm was heading up until it landed. We knew it was going to be between Southeast Texas and Southwest Louisiana, but it bobbled back and forth. It seemed like every update, every new advisory that came in. We saw yesterday even, I was getting more, you know, antsy when it would move toward the Sabine Lake or more toward Orange, and then the next advisory would come out and it was showing Lake Charles, and Lake Charles is saying, no, give it back to them. So then it would move back to us. And so it just went back and forth. And so when it made landfall, it was Lake Charles. Unfortunate for them, but great news for us.
yeah, absolutely. All right, Jeff, do you want to take another look at where the storm is now, where it's heading? I know it's been downgraded, of course. how quickly, right? As it came ashore at nearly a Cat 5, just about 5 miles short of being a Cat 5 storm, then downgraded. It's still, I guess, moving maybe now are we still at the bottom, the southern band of that eye over Lake Charles, or where is it now?
Well, let's take a look at radar, and we can see that right now the eye is continuing to move up. It looks almost right along 171. And we're seeing some very strong wind gusts on the northern edge of the eye, hurricane force. And then we have this wraparound that's coming across parts of southeast Texas. And in that, we're seeing a band of some pretty heavy rain. And right in here, you probably could see some wind gusts, maybe not hurricane force, but definitely tropical storm force, anywhere from between about 40 to 50 miles per hour. And that goes right through Jasper County, back into parts of southern Newton County. And then back behind that, we actually just see some fairly moderate to light rain. But that's all kind of wrapping around the bottom of this, and eventually it's going to be clearing out. Already seen the rain out of Jefferson County, majority of Hardin County seeing the rain. Still looking at quite a bit of rainfall, or quite a bit of coverage of rainfall through Tyler County, but it's fairly light in some spots, moderate in other spots. But the eye kind of falling apart now. And as it continues to work over land going northward, this will be a lot more ragged probably over the next couple of hours, and that will really help the wind speeds start to come down. So right now we're about 110. I expect to be below maybe 100 as we get the next update coming up here at about 6 o'clock or so. So we'll continue to watch it. It's going to move out slowly this morning. I'm thinking by 10 o'clock, a lot of the rain will be out of the area. And then as we get into this afternoon, some partly cloudy skies. It's going to be hot and humid this afternoon with temperatures into the lower 90s. We'll look at that forecast for today and tonight in just a little bit.
All right, and as people are waking up and the storm has now maybe moved through your area, again, 838-1212, that's where people can send their pictures, their video, and we're waiting to see some of that damage, hopefully not too severe, at least in our area, but send us those pictures and those videos, and we can post those. We'll post those for you to see. And a lot of people are already asking this morning, for those who stayed behind, what does it look like in my neighborhood? Have you been back to assess the damage? And people just getting out this morning. So, but again, if you're coming in from out of town, you want to wait until your local leaders give the okay for you to come back into the area. So let's go now and see what the updates are in Jefferson and Orange County. Jefferson County, Jeff Brannick once again saying he feels relieved. Our Kelsey Johnson interviewed him about an hour or two ago, and he came out smiling, she said, as he walked out, and said, wow, we dodged a bullet. And of course, you prepare for the worst, you hope that it changes path just a little bit and doesn't hit you, and that's what happened for Jefferson County. The storm surge at 5 feet reported in Sabine Pass, minimal flooding reported, and rescue crews will go out as soon as the sun starts to come up in a few moments to survey the damage and see if there's any rescues that they do need to make. But he said, as we were talking with them, they hadn't had any calls into their emergency lines there for rescue. So that's great news for Jefferson County. And in Orange County, the judge saying once again, Judge Gauthier saying, wait to return until crews can assess the roads, make sure they are passable and safe for you to come back. And hopefully, since there was not significant storm surge, there are thousands still without power, but hopefully you'll be able to get back there quickly as the damage again was not as severe. A little bit more for the eastern side of Orange, but 300 people are staged at the EOC, and they're going to actually move on to Lake Charles to help out there because, of course, came in as almost Cat 5 at Cameron, then pushed on into Lake Charles, and so they are dealing with significant damage this morning.
All right, Tracy, bear with me here for a second. We do have Darren Tamble with the Cajun Navy, who is on standby with us, waiting for a phone call. Let me see if I can put him on speakerphone. I'm calling him right now.
Yeah, the Cajun Navy, incredible, right?
Good morning. They are wonderful. Good to hear from you, Darren. How are you doing this morning?
Actually, I've been up for about 6 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, we caught you in the nick of time.
I was just fixing to log in. My shift on dispatch doesn't start until 8 a.m., but I'm also the Facebook moderator for our Cajun Navy disaster response team.
Okay.
So I'm still trying to get my bearings about me. How are you guys?
We're doing really well. You know, I don't know if you've seen the update yet, but for Lake Charles, the storm came in as a strong Cat 4 in the early morning hours, hitting the Lake Charles area and moving more north. As for Texas, Orange County, Jefferson County, and beyond, we're seeing what could be minor damage, only power outages right now. So good news for us, not so good news for our friends over in Lake Charles.
Right. I've been in touch with our incident response teams, and we are set and ready to go when ready. I do know that we have teams ready and available for the minimal response that we're going to have in Texas, but we are poised and ready to go assist our friends across the bridge over in Lake Charles.
And you're live with us on air this morning, so thank you again for joining us. But let's talk about that. The Cajun Navy, this is a fairly new organization of volunteer responders, taking care of each other. Explain to us what you do as soon as a storm hits and that storm moves out.
Well, we're not really a new group. We've been around for several hurricanes and several seasons.
Okay.
On the flip side, this is my first season and my first storm. So, getting involved with Cajun Navy, basically it's just regular folks helping regular folks. I saw a need for help. And we all have different walks of life and different backgrounds. And being in the dispatch team and offering assistance on social media, we all have different skill sets that we are good at. And we come from different locations. I have an incident response commander that runs our dispatch page as far away as Arkansas. So even though we're not all in one spot, everybody thinks that it's just Cajun Navy, boots on the ground, all the boats and high water rescue vehicles that you see on television. Understand that we have people as far away as Florida monitoring radios and coordinating efforts, because once our supply lines run out, then we keep the supply lines running from state to state and bringing things in, such as extra food, extra blankets. With this COVID response, we're going to need masks for some people and things of that nature.
Well, walk me through what's going to take place this morning as soon as the storm passes and the all clear is given. What's going to take place? What will your crews be doing?
As soon as I finish this first cup of coffee, I'm going to go ahead and log into my Facebook. Like I said, I'm the one of the moderators for the Facebook page, and I'm going to start getting pictures in from our boots on the ground that are going to be heading into Lake Charles. We're not starting to deploy until after the sun comes up. We have a curfew in effect until 6 a.m., so anybody caught on the ground is subject to a ticket or, if not, arrest. So we can't actually go in until after curfew is over, and once that's over, then our people are in the water. Like I said, we're probably going to really start seeing things and how bad it is starting around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock after our first assessment teams get in, and then we'll go from there.
And how do you work with the first responders? You must have to coordinate with them too as well, right?
That is correct. First responders and EMS and 911, they're basically they're in control. And when it gets overwhelming, when they can't make a response or they can't get their boats to the area, that's when we go in, because we also have big boys with toys that and they're high water rescue vehicles and high dollar boats, fan boats, fishing boats, and then they take their equipment in, and we're going to start getting pictures as soon as possible. And then once I get those pictures, I have to sort through and decide what's going to be safe to post on Facebook. And I'm one of those types of people that when I get it, I assess it and I put it up on the page for all to see.
And while I have you on the phone, once you post those pictures, do you will we share those with our viewers here at 12 News?
Yes,
Thank you.
share those. You can share those pictures. I've also, I believe, sent a link for ticket rescue. So anybody that needs a rescue is asked to please call 911 first. Contact your local authorities first through the 911 system. If they are backed up where you can't get a response from anybody, then what happens is you're asked to fill out a ticket response, and that way it eliminates double dispatch. So I'm not sending 10 boats for one family.
Right.
Because we get on our walkie-talkie system, we get several people that are asking, can you go find my grandma? Can you go pick up my dogs? Can you do several things? And we can't do anything or send anybody in without that ticket response. So if you or someone you know is in the area affected, we ask that you fill out that link or go to that link and fill out the required form. And then it goes directly to our disaster response team to where we can dispatch the proper kinds of rescue, because different areas are going to need different things. So if you're an out-of-state person and you want us to go check on grandma, please do not jump on our system and flood our system with
Multiple requests.
Specific requests. Thank you.
Yes, because you'll get the first one. And also, can you remind us where people can go for that link?
Okay, let me pull up that link.
And while you do that, tell us how many members of the Cajun Navy are on standby this morning.
Currently, we have several hundred staging right now on both sides, on the west side and the east side. It's going to be just outside of Baytown is where we have one incident response team, and then at the Coushatta Casino area in Kinder to still deal with Lake Charles, which is still being hit with heavy winds and high water. So I'm going to ask everybody to if you got a pen and paper available, it's going to be https://crowdrelief-forms, and I'm going to send this information to you via text so you can put it on, and that would probably be easiest instead of myself reading it to you over the air. And I will send this link to you in text.
Okay.
And then please post it to your viewers, and like I said, fill out that form, and we're going to go get grandma and your dog.
All right, sounds good. And also, real quick, can that also be found on your Facebook page, that link?
That is correct.
Okay, perfect. Darren with the Cajun Navy joining us this morning. Darren, thank you so much. Be careful when you start going out and about today, and thank you for what you and your crews do during these natural disasters. We definitely appreciate the Cajun Navy.
Vanessa, thank you very much. Y'all have a great morning.
You too. All right, we're going to go back over to Brandy Smith now, monitoring social media. Brandy, good morning. What can you tell us?
I wanted to give you a look at Bolivar Peninsula. So check this out. Storm surge from Laura just coated with rocks, and we have an update. TxDOT crews. Remember, they said they would be out surveying damage and doing work to clear debris. Here they are, crews showing up to clear those rocks off of Highway 87. It's a lot of work, but this is a reminder of why maybe if you're watching, if you evacuated and you're thinking about trying to get back home, the roads aren't necessarily clear just yet. Check drivetexas.org for Texas roads. You can also look in Louisiana as well. We can tell you that I-10 is closed at the Louisiana border. So I know there's this rush, though. You want to get home. You want to see what kind of damage, if any, your home suffered because, and this is a sentiment I've seen a lot on social media, if this is what happened to buildings in downtown Lake Charles, what happened to homes in the area? Totally get it, but you need to wait for the all clear from your local emergency managers before you make that trip back in. You want to make sure it's safe. So what happens once you get home? Couple steps. First thing you're going to want to do if your home is damaged is file a claim. So if the roof is damaged, if you got any water in the house, call your insurance as soon as you get home. You're also going to want to document that damage. Take a lot of photos, take a lot of videos. You can't do too much just to be safe. And then eventually it's time to remove all of those damaged items. You don't want mold and all that buildup, although you will want to wait until you get the all clear from your insurance company. Now, if you don't have flood insurance, you might want to reach out to FEMA. We are under a state of emergency. FEMA approved that at Governor Abbott's request. So that is the next step there. It's gonna be a lot of recovery. Daylight hasn't arrived yet. We don't have a full assessment of what we're looking at, in the Cameron area, in Lake Charles, even parts of Beaumont, Orange, got hammered by a lot of wind, knocked out power. So guys, there are a lot of questions right now. Some of them will be answered once the sun rises.
Good advice there. We want to go now to a phone interview. We have another one lined up with Andy Schonert from Entergy. Andy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good morning to you. Talk a little bit about these power outages we're seeing this morning. We've been following your website, always a great tool to go to when we do see outages in our area. Tens of thousands without power right now. Explain to me what y'all are seeing on your end.
Yeah, so as of right now, we have about 75,000 customers out. The majority of those are in Orange, Port Arthur, and Beaumont, as well as a number of customers in the Hardin County area. And so, kind of the next steps for us is really taking a look at the damage assessment, really getting out and understanding, what the impacts to our system are to be able to begin that restoration process.
And you have crews set up all around ready to come in and help with these outages. Can you give us an idea of just about how many crews we're seeing?
Sure. As of right now, and this is, between Texas and on the Lake Charles side as well, there's about 10,000 people focused, and we have, many, many more coming in over the next few days to really begin that restoration process and help get customers back on it as quickly as safely possible.
Now, when customers notice that they have a power outage in their area, now typically when you have a power outage, you'll call Entergy, report that outage. Do you encourage residents to do that now?
Yes, if you're experiencing an outage, you can call 1-800-ENTERGY. You can also log in to go to Entergy.com and report an outage via the website as well.
Okay.
By logging into your account.
And let's talk about these outages and what causes them. The strong winds, maybe a tree limb down on a power line, and this can get very dangerous. So talk to us about the importance of these linemen, and not for residents to come home and deal with these outages and maybe some debris they're seeing on these power lines. They may be live.
That's right, exactly. Always assume that if you see a down power line, it could be live. Please stay away from any down lines and areas of debris. And also keep in mind that, energized power lines may not be visible among the debris and rubble. So if you see a down line, please report it immediately to us by calling that 1-800-ENTERGY.
Now, when we were forecasting this storm, we saw it coming in. We weren't sure if it was going to be southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana. We're mainly seeing southeast Texas right now. That's what we're seeing is power outages. But during the worst case scenario, we were saying it could be days, it could be weeks before power is restored. Looking at the numbers now, what we're seeing now as we enter the 6 o'clock hour, any estimated time frame on when power can be restored?
I think that's really the thing where they need to get in to work on the damage assessment and really understand, how catastrophic and in some cases, how serious the damage was to our system. And so I think as they begin that damage assessment process, they'll really be able to have a lot more better sense of, the repairs and the time needed. Customers can keep up, you mentioned the outage map, as well as visiting EnergyStormCenter.com is another resource to kind of stay up to date with our efforts on damage assessment as well as our restoration work.
All right, sounds good. Any other advice for your customers this morning as they're looking at their neighborhoods, maybe on your website, on Entergy's website, seeing that they have power outages in their neighborhoods? Any advice to them?
I think, like we talked about, absolutely stay away from downlines. And if you're experiencing an outage or see a downline, please call us and let us know at 1-800-ENERGY.
All right, Andy, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll be in contact, and good luck to your linemen. They're definitely doing a wonderful job, and we thank them for their service.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, and so Tracy, again, that's the main thing we're seeing this morning is power outages. Good news for us here in Southeast Texas. Granted, there are tens of thousands of people without power, but it could be so much worse.
Absolutely. Absolutely so much worse. I'm just getting news that our Channel 12 station looks like it got spared a bullet as well. So we will be returning there shortly, hopefully as well. Andy, among the first responders, they're doing an amazing job. They need to be thanked because they will be the ones that get you back into your home quicker.
With air conditioning in August. So yes, thank Entergy when you see them.
Also, Darren saying that the Cajun Navy, they go out and save and rescue these people. He's like, oh, we're just average everyday guys. No, they're not. These guys are incredible. They have a special set of skills that the everyday person doesn't have, right? And then nerves of steel, and they go into these areas and rescue people.
Hometown heroes.
Absolutely.
I was fortunate enough looking at the silver lining during Harvey whenever my home flooded and get on the boat with these guys and
they rescued.
They're
so
wonderful, so nice, so good. Anything you need, and just I said, okay, I'm just running in real quick. Not running in, kind of floating in because it was still kind of flooded in my neighborhood, and they took me in on a boat. Going in real quick, getting a few belongings, and I'm coming right back. They said, how much time you need? I said, just give me 15 minutes. And Tracy, in 15 minutes, they were back. So they had gone around my neighborhood looking for more people, and that's what they told me that they do. They spot maybe someone waving in a window, maybe a flashlight,
or
blinking
those calls
on
to 911, as you mentioned.
On and off. And so they came right back. So they're very good, very dependable. And like I said, they are our unsung heroes of sorts.
Absolutely, absolutely. And remember, as you're waking up and the sunlight is starting to rise and you're going out into your yard, remember to send us those pictures. But we do want to let you know, when you send those to us on our 12 News app, if you'll send them in the Near Me feature, so when you look at our app on the bottom where you sometimes maybe watch us live, then next to that it says Near Me, and you can put in your information, and that way we can let people know exactly where that picture is from, where that video is coming from, because sometimes we get these pictures and people don't really, they can't say, oh, that's my neighborhood, right? And so that will help out your neighbors. Also right now, and remember, especially like I know Beaumont and many of these other areas, they have that dusk to dawn curfew, so you can't get out, and really, as Darren was saying, you can be arrested if you're out there going around the area before the sun comes up. All right, Jeff is standing by now. Let's get another update of that storm. It's now a Cat 2, right?
Yeah, winds are at 105, so it's quickly coming down as far as the winds. The next update, I'm sure it'll be under 100 miles per hour. And it's still moving to the north of 15, so still in a hurry to get out of here, and we like that. You can see the eyes looking even more ragged. Right now, it's working its way just towards the north end of Beauregard Parish, getting ready to move into Vernon Parish. Still the strongest winds on the east side of that eye, and then on the back on the west side of the eye, we're still seeing some tropical storm force winds, which we're talking about wind gusts up over 40 miles per hour. A couple of bands of some heavier rain moving through parts of Jasper County and Newton County. Almost all the rain's out of Hardin County, almost all the rain's out of Orange County, and we're not looking at any rain right now in Jefferson County. So good news there. Winds are starting to come down around the triangle, and we're seeing the rain move out, and that's going to be the general trend as we go through the rest of the morning and going into the afternoon. Let me clear out of the way here, and we'll take a look at your forecast for today. Temperatures in the 70s out there this morning. Watch those bands of rain up towards the north by 8 o'clock. Continue to kind of spin towards the north as the storm retreats up into northern parts of Louisiana. So through the afternoon, we'll go with partly to maybe some mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures up close to about 90 for today. And then we'll see temperatures back through the 80s as we go through the evening hours. As we head towards the overnight hours, expecting a little disturbance to kind of slide through the area as we head into, it looks like, the early morning hours on Friday. So we could catch a couple of showers that pop up overnight. I think most of it should be off towards our east, but with that southwesterly flow, we'll see a couple of little weak disturbances try to lift off towards the north. So we'll put in a few showers through the overnight, and then we'll keep showers in the forecast as we go through the next several days. For today, hot and humid. I think most of the rain is done for today. We'll be up there around 90 degrees with southwesterly winds at about 5 to 15. And then for tonight, some scattered rain could be developing towards tomorrow morning with south winds and mostly cloudy skies. And then here's a look at there's the temperatures for tonight into the 70s. And here's a look at the 7-day forecast where we're looking at temperatures holding into the lower 90s over the next 7 days. But look at those rain chances, 50-60% chance of rain through the weekend into Monday and Tuesday of next week. And then eventually those rain chances start to come down as we head towards Wednesday and Thursday, back down to 20%. We're still going to see some rain scattered across the area. Matter of fact, some of the afternoons could see some heavy rainfall popping up here and there, but nice to see the winds south at 5 to 10 miles per hour instead of seeing the winds anywhere from, gosh, what did we see last night? Anywhere from, or this morning I should say, from say 25 all the way up to about 85 miles per hour. So things are clearing out, Tracy, slowly but surely, and we'll see, I think, dry conditions as we head towards this afternoon across most of the area, and probably a little bit of sunshine as well as the rain is retreating off towards the north and east.
All right, and that's good news especially for crews that need to get in and start clearing out debris, and for our Entergy folks who need to start restoring some of those power lines. At least Mother Nature's cooperating there and going to let them make those repairs.
Yeah, I think they'll have a good chance to kind of assess everything as we get into, looks like late this morning into this afternoon. I don't think they're going to be too much as far as widespread damage across parts of southeast Texas as far as structural damage or anything like that. Probably a lot of tree limbs down. Most of that structural damage, most of that kind of stuff is over towards southwest Louisiana. That's going to be a little bit more of a recovery than I think we're looking at over here in southeast Texas.
Yeah, I was just reading one of the things to do in the first 24 hours after the storm is to replenish all your kits that maybe you used during the storm. We got to remind folks that maybe we dodged a bullet this time, but don't let down your guard because we're a long way from being at the end of hurricane season, right?
Yeah, peak of hurricane season usually comes between the 10th and 12th of September, so we're not even at the beginning of September yet.
And you thought your job was over.
And don't want to talk about it right now, but there is a little wave coming off Africa.
What?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's my job, so I don't have a law degree. I talk about the weather, so
coming off from Africa.
It's just right now it's about a 20% chance of some development. We won't, like I said, worry about it too much today, but we'll be talking about it as we head towards later on this week.
But the rest of the week, for now, let's just focus on that silver lining.
There you go.
It's going to be nice and hot. And hopefully get the lights back on, as Vanessa was saying, and the air conditioning going because it's going to stay hot out there.
Yeah, we'll see temperatures in the lower 90s, so we need some air for sure.
Yeah, and hopefully, I know with Rita, we didn't have power for weeks and weeks and weeks, and that humidity and heat and mosquitoes, that was really hard to deal with after the storm, but hopefully this
with Harvey, I didn't have power. We didn't have water for a week, so we know how that goes across southeast Texas, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you, Jeff. And right now we're hearing 359,070 people in Louisiana without power. In Texas, 85,438 without power. Again, the storm is now a Cat 2. If you're just waking up, it came in close to a Cat 5, about just short of a Cat 5 storm. Came in at Cameron, Louisiana, quickly moving north, and kind of, didn't quite take that northwest trek that we thought it may take and bring it into southeast Texas. So that's good news. It has now been downgraded. It will continue to downgrade as it moves north and becomes a tropical storm. So Janelle Bluto, I believe, we're going to her now with the latest there.
Hey guys,
guys, yeah, so we are out in Orange at the intersection of Highway 87 and I-10. As you can see, very dark out here behind me. Very light rain. It was a lot heavier when we got here about an hour ago. But this intersection here, normally very busy. It's got a Chick-fil-A, a Starbucks, but as you can see, just completely dark out here. There's a few road signs down. Some non-substantial damage we've seen so far just from what we've seen from the road. We've seen some tree limbs, like I said, signs down. There are businesses boarded up. Hopefully that is providing them enough protection. We haven't seen any blown out windows yet. However, like I said, that's just from what we've seen so far. It is still very dark out here. As you can see, we just got an update. 73,000 homes in this area without power. That's for Jefferson, Orange, and Hardin counties. Now I want to show you some video of what it looked like out here earlier today. It's just intense wind and rain pummeling the area here in Orange, knocking out power all throughout the city. Power lines down in multiple places. Widespread power outages from Beaumont all the way to Lake Charles. Roads coming in from Baytown were actually very empty, a good sign that a lot of people maybe heeded official advice and stayed home. A lot of the hotels along I-10 near Baytown also booked solid with people evacuating. The road here, this is almost the furthest east we can go here at Orange because I-10 is shut down in both directions, as you guys know. So we have seen a few people venturing out, trying to make their way back to Lake Charles, only to find out that it is shut down. Guys?
All right, yeah, thank you so much for that, Janelle Bluto. She's in Orange and showing some of the damage there. We're also getting word, as Brandy was showing us earlier, Highway 87 has rocks all over it. So again, we need our crews to get out there before you start moving back into Southeast Texas. Check out the roadways, check out the area, and make sure it's safe for you to return. So just because you look at the map and say, oh, my power's back on, or my power never went out, I'm going back home, be aware that you might not be able to get quite back into Southeast Texas, as they don't want you to come back in until we get the word and give it to you that it's safe. But you know, Orange maybe got some of the worst of that damage for Southeast Texas, at least. And
Tracy, I want to just go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I want to give a new traffic alert coming in from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. They are reporting that there is a roof in the road on Highway 105 near Keith Road, blocking 3 lanes of traffic. So motorists beware. We don't want any motorists coming out onto the roads at this hour, but that is coming from Jefferson County. They are going to try to clear that up, but that is Highway 105 near Keith Road. A roof actually blown off of a home in the roadway, blocking 3 lanes of traffic. You're looking at live pictures from our hurricane tracker right now, and it's good to see. You know, there's slick roads, but not too bad out there right now. The storm tracker out surveying the damage hitting Orange County, that is. Watching what the conditions there are like. Janelle was just there updating us. Now our storm tracker is heading that way, surveying the damage. And you know, the power outages, as we've been mentioning in Orange County, they are pretty massive at this hour. Thousands of people without power in Orange County. Looking at the numbers, over 15,000 people in the county. Looking at county by county right now, Orange actually, because I was just looking in when I told you that just now, at Orange, the city of Orange and surrounding areas, but for the actual county, Entergy is reporting over 25,000 customers without power right now. When you look at Hardin County, there's over, this just changed, it was just at 8, now it's telling me 9,500 customers without power. Jefferson County, just under 41,000 customers, so right at 41,000 customers in Jefferson County without power. Tyler County, 2,500, but I want to focus more on Jefferson County. Jeff, you were just mentioning that the storm looks to be moving out of the Jefferson County area right now, so this may be, hopefully, the worst of what we're seeing when it comes to power outages as the storm makes its way out of that county.
Yeah, I mean, right now the storm is continuing to weaken, and we're still seeing some wraparound around the eye, I think, but that's mainly been up towards parts of northern Jasper and Newton County. If you look back towards Hardin County, Orange County, and Jefferson County, all the rain has moved out, and the winds are really starting to die down. So I don't think we're going to see any additional power outages. We're not looking at the winds going to be strong enough to cause any more, but still could see some power outages when you get close to the center of the storm, especially northern parts of Newton County right now, northern parts of Jasper, and maybe even northern parts of Tyler County. This is going to move through fairly quickly, so probably a couple more hours before we get it north of the area, and then we can get rid of the rain and also get rid of maybe any additional power outages. But right now it's just the lakes area that might see some additional power outages. I think things are starting to calm down around the triangle.
I do like to see the lack of red and orange and all that on that. And
I know.
how it's just kind of starting to dissipate a little bit.
Yeah, and like I said, you can see how ragged the eye is
Right.
now. Winds are down to 105 miles an hour. Still moving though at that same clip, at north at about 15, and we'll do that as we go through the rest of the day. So it's going to be moving fairly quickly out of here. So good news there.
So Jeff, the interesting thing is we were watching our storm tracker go along I-10. I had flashbacks of Harvey and just the interstate completely submerged in water, thinking that was a tropical storm and the massive amount of water. And with this storm, almost a Cat 5 hurricane, and the rains and that came with it. And is it because it just moved so quickly through our area?
Yeah, well, you remember Harvey was a hurricane at one time. It came down through parts of central Texas. As it came into central Texas, we got most of the rain from it, and then it spun around out in Texas, came back out, and then passed by us as a tropical storm, the whole time bringing rain to us. That was 4 or 5 days of rain, constant rain across the area. So that added up to what, 60 inches of rain in some spots of southeast Texas. This storm, we really didn't see any rain from it until we were looking at yesterday afternoon, and then we saw some of the heaviest rain from it with some of those outer bands coming in yesterday afternoon. And then as the storm itself came inland early this morning, the rain around the center wasn't really that heavy. We picked up maybe a couple of inches of rain overnight, but we're not looking at 7, 8 inches of rain that came in with this. It's been some fairly moderate to light rain, and once again moving very quickly. So it's a completely two different system. One that stuck around for days. We continue to see rain with that. Another one that's zipping in here and zipping out, and that's what we were also thinking, well, it's coming in so quick, we probably won't see the rain really add up, and that's been the case with Laura.
All right, so yeah, it's just because you hear tropical storm, you don't go, oh, shoo. Totally different type of storm, different type of damage.
And I think if any one location across the country has learned the story of everything is different, every storm is a different storm, I think we have here in southeast Texas, from a tropical storm that gives us 40 inches of rain to a hurricane that we get 2 inches of rain from. So everyone's different. You got to take them one at a time.
Yeah, and to know that cone of uncertainty really is uncertain until the moment it hits the coastline.
Yeah, sometimes they'll have a straight beat on the thing and they'll have it right over the area. And sometimes like this one, you've got to watch almost to the very end. Nobody thought that, if it had that northwesterly track for a couple of days and thought, okay, well, we got a good idea. And then right as it got towards landfall, it started to shoot northward. And that's what we've been seeing this morning, a straight northward track right up through parts of southwest Louisiana, maybe a little bit to the northwest as we've gotten into later on this morning. So that eye is kind of including northern parts of Newton County, starting to move into Toledo Bend. But for the most part, a northerly track right up through southwest Louisiana. Bad news for them, unfortunately, but a little bit good news for us as we didn't see the brunt of the storm.
Now, a lot of times that European model is the one that's the most accurate. Did that hold true again this time?
No, I don't think necessarily, no. I think actually the American model actually did a little bit better job. The European model wanted to take this storm over towards Houston a lot. And the American model was a little bit more farther off towards the east. Neither one of them were right on, but we typically don't expect that anyway. But I think the American model might have been just a little bit better this time. But, like I said, each storm is different. So each time we have a different storm, the models are different as well.
All right, and the good thing about this one is most of them were consistent. I saw a few shooting completely, almost
yeah, and that's what they look for when they're forecasting these storms. They look for that consistency, and that's why they try to trend the track.
trim the track.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Thanks so much, Jeff.
You bet.
So the first 24 hours after the storm hits, that's where we are. And some of the things you need to know, first of all, walk around your area, take some pictures. A lot of people will have to be filing on insurance, so you want to have pictures. Hopefully, now before we left our house, we took a lot of pictures, a lot of video of what it was like before, so that if you have damage, then they can see this is how it looked prior to the storm coming in. You want to clean up as quickly as possible around your home to prevent any mold, and hopefully if you got any rain into your home. They also say don't make unnecessary calls, have your cell phone battery or preserve that as much as possible. When you have time, replenish your readiness kits and prepare for the next one, as we were mentioning. And Vanessa, I don't know if you heard this, but Jeff was saying there's something out there. We're not going to even talk about that.
No, we're just going to enjoy the day and hug our family members when we're finally able to see them again, and once everyone is able to come back home. I know I can't wait to see my mom. You know, I was with her just yesterday morning.
Yeah.
And she was crying as when I got there, because she's been through Harvey. She flooded, and she's looking at, you know, her new countertops and her new kitchen cabinets, and said, I just replaced all of this, and here I go again having to leave. And I said, Mom's going to be okay. We'll get through this one again. And we did. So, yeah, we won't talk about whatever's out there, Jeff. Just, I know that's your job, but we don't want to hear it this morning. Again, here's 3 things you need to know as you start your day with us. Laura moving in and over Louisiana. Storm surge ongoing. Jefferson County Judge Jeff Brannick saying, quote, we dodged a bullet. And yes, we did. Minor damage has been reported in Jefferson County. There are widespread power outages all across southeast Texas. I've been monitoring Entergy's website all morning long. Tens of thousands of people without power right now, and that looks to be the most damage we're seeing. It's just power outages. We talked to an Entergy spokesperson just moments ago. He said the crews are ready. They're on standby, both on the east side of Lake Charles, on our side in southeast Texas. From both directions, they're going to come in, swarm southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana, and start getting to work once it's safe to do so. Looking at the power outages now, I'm going to start with county by county, because this updates by the minute in real time. You're looking at Orange County at 25,000 customers right now without power. Jefferson County, 42,000. Hardin County, 9,500. And Tyler County, 2,500. Chambers County, only reporting 1 outage there. Galveston, just 2. That's another situation. Galveston County, they were issued a mandatory evacuation. The island, the city of Galveston, issued a mandatory evacuation, followed by the county, including Bolivar Peninsula, but only 2 people without power there. The only thing we're seeing really in the Galveston County area is on road closures. Highway 87 at 124, you know, that area right there at that turnaround that usually gets a lot of debris on the roads. We're seeing debris on the road and a little water on the road right now, but that's it. So good news there for people who may have homes on the Bolivar Peninsula or in Galveston on the island. Hardin County, we just mentioned 9,500. Jasper, just one customer without power. And Jeff, let's talk about Jasper County if we can just for a second, the Lakes area. Also, what are they seeing? We haven't really talked much about them recently. Can you update us on what's going on there?
And as I mentioned earlier, as we see the storm coming in, really hasn't affected the northern parts of Jasper County too much because most of the heavy winds have been down towards southern parts of Louisiana. But now that eye is starting to work its way northward, we're starting to see a little bit more heavier winds come into northern parts of Jasper County. So probably haven't seen a whole lot of power outages right now, but now that those winds are picking up a little bit and that eye is starting to work its way northward, I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more power outages through Jasper County, especially in northern Newton County, because you're going to be still seeing probably some hurricane force winds there. The winds lighten up as you head towards Tyler County, but you can still see that wraparound, maybe also creating some wind gusts upwards of about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So, like I said earlier, I don't think we're done with the power outages through parts of the lakes area. As we go through the next hour or two, we're probably going to see more start to add up a little bit. All
right, thank you so much, Jeff. We appreciate it. And we are just getting word now that our Kelsey Johnson standing by again with Jefferson County Judge Jeff Brennick with an update on how Jefferson County is handling the aftermath of the storm. Kelsey?
Well, it's been, worry and concern for the area. I said whenever I signed the evacuation order on Monday, I told my emergency management staff that it was going to be a 2020 conundrum, and that's it. If it goes 20 miles to the west, we're going to have a heck of a wallop. If it goes 20 miles to the east, maybe we're going to be okay and have less significant storm surge. And fortunately for us and unfortunately for Louisiana, it went 20 miles to the east. So, we've seen winds of 89 miles an hour down at the Sabine Pass area, 60 up here in Beaumont. That's something that we can handle. I'm absolutely thrilled for our community that suffered so much for the last several years. There's so many serious incidents that, we're going to get a reprieve here. I know we've had some significant power outages. Also know that Entergy has over 10,000 utility workers staged and pre-positioned to come in. I'm sure there's going to be some property damage, but not near what we could have experienced if we'd gotten the 141 mile an hour winds that they got just 20 miles to our east. So I'm happy for our community this morning.
Definitely. So as we approach this 3 o'clock hour, 3 o'clock in the morning, what is maybe one of your greatest concerns that you're having right now?
Just restoration of power. I think the property damage is going to be minimal. I hope that when we're able to get out, when the light comes and we're able to get out and assess the situation, that we're going to have fewer of our thoroughfares that are impacted by falling trees and things of that nature. So, I'm not even certain that we're going to have to execute any search and rescue operations, but that'll remain to be seen. Normally, when we do have people who are trapped or in need of search and rescue, we get calls to the Emergency Operations Center behind you. We've received no calls, and so that's a good thing.
That's a very good thing. Judge, what's kind of then a message you want to say right now to the community?
Just that I'm relieved, and I hope that they're relieved, and I'm glad that I was wrong about the evacuation, but I think given the severity of this storm, the likelihood that, like Harvey at the last minute, changing just a few degrees makes a significant difference in what you might experience from a damage perspective. And so, I'm extremely happy tonight.
Judge, how many hours of sleep have you gotten in the last few days?
Not very many. Not very many.
Okay.
And none since early this morning, or yesterday morning, I guess it is now.
I can only imagine. Well, now, tonight or today, whenever you get to get off and get out of here, you're going to be able to get to go sleep and at least a little bit of peace knowing that, we kind of dodged the severity of what the storm could have been.
We did dodge the bullet, and just by 20 miles.
All right, Judge.
All right, thank you, Kelsey Johnson. Thank you, Judge Jeff Brennick. And we have our storm tracker out checking things out right now. And Derry, I believe, is out driving toward Orange, just past the Vider area on I-10. Again, about 85,438 people in Southeast Texas are without power. As you heard the judge saying, there are about 10,000 utility workers standing by. It's pretty dark here on I-10. Of course, that's usually all lit up. So you see there's power outages there. Vanessa, maybe you can check in the Orange County area how many are out of power there as he's heading toward that area. And that would probably be the most significant for Southeast Texas because they got more damage than anyone else in Southeast Texas. Of course, Louisiana getting that bullseye on them. So so right now it looks like lights are out, and he's going to be checking that out. I'm sorry, but tell me that again in my ear.
If you look at Orange County right now, as he makes his way in the storm tracker to that area, Orange County, 27,000 people in the dark right now without power. So as our photographer makes his way there, you can see a little bit of light there. Hopefully the sun will peek out some way somehow today amidst all those clouds you're seeing, but it's dark. He's making his way there. I'm seeing a little bit of light.
Yeah, and that could be a couple of drivers as well. He did want us to, and some of those just reflectors on the side of the road, but Derry wanted us to take a look. I mean, there's virtually nobody on the road. And if you know I did going toward Orange, that's not typically the case. But yeah, and that's the way it should be. But he will be continuing to survey that damage as light, as the sun starts to rise there.
Right, and looking at the numbers as the storm starts moving out of the area, we're now starting to see the numbers become steady when it comes to outages. Jefferson County was right around the 40,000 mark just minutes ago. It's still sitting right there, 42,000 customers. Orange County, 27,000 customers. That was the case just a few moments ago too. So again, we're starting to see these numbers level off, not grow in any way really significantly. So that's good news, because that's telling us hopefully the storm will move out soon with those outer bands, that wind. We have a reporter or two in Beaumont. They're telling us that it's starting to subside there, the wind and the rain. So we're getting Laura out of here so our crews can go in, these linemen, these crews from Entergy, to go in and start reporting and to duty and fixing these power outages for us. Speaking of reporting, report your outages to Entergy. Entergy spokesperson told us just earlier this morning that you can go online. You can also go to, you can call a number, the Entergy number, report an outage, and they will get to you as quick as you can. Now remember, they have tens of thousands of people in Southeast Texas, widespread power outages. So they may not get to you within the hour. It may be tonight, it may be tomorrow, it may be several days. But there are hundreds of linemen from the east of Lake Charles and also in Southeast Texas, staged, ready to work. If you were evacuating town, just like we were, you could see in the hotels, the parking lots that we were passing, that those Entergy trucks are right there parked, ready to go. So they're ready. They're just waiting for the sun to come up. They're waiting for first responders to tell them, we've assessed the roads, this area is clear, and once they get that word, then those Entergy crews will come in. But this does not happen in just a matter of a snap of a finger. It does take some time, as we've seen in past hurricanes, past storms in our area. So be patient with them. They're trying their hardest. I know a lot of you are ready to get home and back to some normalcy, but when it comes to the grand scheme of things, power outages, we'll take that, right, Tracy? Looking at what Lake Charles is going through, a whole different ball game for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just getting word from a guy who stayed behind, and he's kind of assessing damage, that my house is okay.
Good.
So
and mine is
I don't
too.
know what that means. Like
Yes.
there's probably rain that went under the doors and whatever, but I know it's standing.
And that's wonderful for you, Tracy, because you are one of the ones who went through Imelda and Harvey. You've been through it twice, and we did not want to go through it a third time.
Is this time, Vanessa, I thought, okay, now I know what to do in a flood. I don't know if the roof gets blown off of my house or have
because it's different.
A different kind of feeling. And I still went into panic mode of flooding and lifted every single thing off the ground this time. I thought, it's not going to flood. You know, I'm not going to let these.
You don't want to lift it up high now, because what if your roof blows off? Then you do want to put it low.
Exactly.
So I was caught in that same scenario. Where do I put the belongings that I love most, cherish most, that I couldn't bring with me? Where do I put that? Because we didn't know about the storm surge or the wind gusts, because you know, you don't want a tree falling on your roof, you don't want your roof blowing off, but then you also don't want it to flood. So I have a lot of things on my bed, because it's kind of in the middle, you know, so it was a decision a lot of people had to make.
Right, but we're gonna, I kept telling people, it's just stuff, right? We've been through this over and over, and it's just stuff.
But we love our stuff.
It's hard to I know some of my girls were mourning the loss of some of their new clothes, the most of all. School just started. We haven't even worn them yet, right? And that's the other thing. We just got back to school and amid the pandemic and all of the craziness, and
we talked about that yesterday. You know, these kids, the school year was prolonged. They had just started back to school for what, a week maybe? And now here we are again. School's been out for the whole week. And so these poor kids, they've been through a lot.
And what will this do with the pandemic? You worry about that as well. You know, I know that the emergency responders and those who are trying to coordinate, I shouldn't say responders, but like the leaders, Jefferson County leaders, and those try to put them in put people in hotels as opposed to like we did at Ford Park and things like that so that they weren't together. But you still worry about the spread of it and those who were sick during the evacuation but had to be evacuated and that type of thing.
And you know, a lot of people are staying with family members. There are groups of people staying together because your cousin and your aunt are saying, come stay with me, but they're telling the entire family that. So there may be 10 people, 15 people in one house. We are still in a pandemic, so make sure you're aware of that and keep that hand sanitizer handy.
Yeah, let's hope. Okay, we're going to go to Cameron Parish, check things out. Of course, Cameron Parish hit especially hard as the hurricane came on shore just before 1 o'clock. This is from the Office of Emergency Management just coming in to us. They say that tides have leveled out at the coast. That's good news. Water's still rising inland, particularly Lake Charles. Rain totals there, Jeff, is this kind of what we predicted there, 5 to 10 feet? Or
5 to 10 inches?
Oh, 5 to 10 inches now. Oh, look at, I'm trying to read it from far over here.
Yeah.
So 5 to 10 inches now at the height of the storm was much higher than that.
Yeah, I was just trying to find some rainfall totals here from the National Weather Service. Looks like most of the rainfall totals weren't that much. It really was, they don't have a reporting station down towards Cameron Parish, so I don't know exactly how much rainfall they got there. We can try to do some radar estimates of how much rain came in through that part of the state of Louisiana. Matter of fact, let's see if I can.
So it was saying there on that graphic that they had significant flooding, and so was that from the storm surge then?
I think probably the majority of that would be from the storm surge, not really from the rain coming in from the storm itself. Most of the rain around this storm wasn't horrible, and let's see, there's a map right here of observed precipitation, and really pretty light stuff across the area. Let me see exactly. Let's see. Let's go the last 24 or 12 hours. Let's see if we can pop that up here. And there's some heavy stuff over towards the south end of Cameron Parish. We're looking at 5.5 inches or so. So kind of on line of what we were seeing on that graphic, 5 to 10, but actually on the low side, maybe 5-6 inches of rain right there in the southwest corner. Most of the parish didn't see that much rainfall as that storm came in. It really was the storm surge, I think, that caused maybe some of the flooding. And I saw, and I still haven't got any reports on what the storm surge was. I saw a little bit earlier last night, this was before the storm actually made landfall, that the storm surge along Cameron Parish was only upwards of about 6 to 8 feet. So, but still, that's 6 to 8 feet above normal tide. But it wasn't the 20 feet that they were kind of expecting with the storm.
All right. We saw those emergency vehicles, so I was trying to figure out exactly where they were going, but through Orange County, and I guess maybe they're just out and about trying to survey the damage this morning, hopefully not doing any rescues. We haven't heard of that yet, but this is Orange County, and look, surprisingly, not a lot of debris along the road there. I got a live look at some of the roads around southeast Texas. There are a lot of lights out, no electricity, except for the headlights of the vehicles. Looks like power out there. Maybe one of the poles looks like it's slightly blown over too, but not completely down. So that's good news. Of course, as Jefferson County Judge Jeff Browning just told us moments ago, that's his #1 concern now, is just getting the lights back on, as opposed to major rescues. He had no calls of people in distress wanting to be rescued, and partially because they did an excellent job, I think, of letting people know early. And the severity of the storm, potential severity, had it moved 20 miles closer to us could have been a different story. So they did an excellent job of getting people out of the area, and so far they have not had to make any rescues of people from their homes or high waters or damaged areas and that kind of thing. So good news there, and of course just getting all those customers back with the lights back on this morning is our big concern.
Yeah, you know, we're trying to show you some pictures. It's freezing up on us, but you can get an idea of just, you know, the damage that we received, and it's just right now pretty much power outages. And so you're seeing slick roads, but that's very minor compared to what it could have been. I'm starting to get text messages from people who are kind of celebrating in a sense this morning, Tracy, that there's no damage or very minor debris in their yards, and so we're just happy to report that for everyone today. You're still not encouraged to come home. The emergency crews are waiting for sunrise to go out and assess the damage. It's still dark outside. They haven't been able to go out yet, because if you're driving home, there could be a tree in the road, there could be debris, there could be rocks, there could be all kinds of things, and you may not see it. So do not, even water, there might be some standing water along the road, so don't drive through it. Don't come home just yet. Wait for our authorities and for 12 News to tell you it's okay, and once they give us the okay, we'll let you know, and then you can come back into town. Looking at power outages again, I want to show you county by county, still sitting in the 42,000 mark. Jefferson County, Orange County, right around 29,000. It went up a little bit. Hardin County, 9,600. Tyler, 2,500. Not hardly any outages in Jasper and Chambers combined. Only 2 in Galveston County. So yeah, looking pretty good. The main outages we're seeing are in Jefferson and Orange County. We want to keep showing you these live pictures from our 12 News Storm Tracker surveying the damage. And Tracy, just from what we're seeing right here along the main roads, no trees down.
Yeah, this is the Orangeville area, and that's the exact same thing. Oh, now he's moved on to orange. Okay. So these, I mean, that's the exact same thing I was thinking. It was like the trees are standing. I was seeing all the power lines, all the power poles up. Good news there, because when those things come down, that's when we have weeks and sometimes months to get the lights back on. So hopefully power, oh, there's something in the road. There's some debris. It looked like a tree limb blown out into the middle of the road there. So we do have our storm tracker kind of going through all the major areas for you, just trying to check out if there's anything across the roads, any major damage, and so far it's looking good, right? I'm getting excited.
Yeah, so it's good to see the sun come up, and when it does, some of those crews can go out and start repairing some of your power, and so you can come home, and we'll have law enforcement authorities, TxDOT crews, everyone will be out momentarily starting that assessment for Southeast Texas, and they will keep us updated, and in turn we will keep you updated. So right now, stay put wherever you are, wherever your destination may be, and we will let you know when it is time to come home. There's no place like home, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's just coming up on Strickland Drive. That's where these live pictures are coming to us from. If you're wondering where he is, of course, he's out in not great coverage, obviously, area right now, but Strickland Drive in Orange is right now where he is. There it goes, a little bit better. And look at the clouds. Looks like a nice day to get out if you have to clean up some of that debris and that type
we're
of
looking
thing.
at some damage right here. We can't tell just yet where this is.
Almost looks like a storage area or some type of a lumber yard or something. Ben, is Derry telling you where this is or what this is? I think it looks like a metal roofing of some type of a building there.
And maybe once this camera pans back around, it'll show if a sign is maybe still standing. No, that was a billboard I saw. I was hoping it would be a business sign, but it looks like some buildings of some sort blown over right there, and that's pretty much the worst we've seen this morning so far, Tracy.
Yeah, which is absolutely good news. Yeah, and I've been monitoring our Facebook page too to see if people have given us any updates on their damage. So continue to do that as well. And remember, if you go to our 12 News app and you go to the Near Me area, you can put in exactly where it is. And we're going to share those pictures with our viewers this morning. Because that, I mean, as you see here, we have dairy going through the streets, but people are all over Southeast Texas into Southwest Louisiana with this damage. Videos, pictures, people love to see them and see what it looks like in their neighborhood as they've evacuated maybe in another area, and that's what everybody wants to see. And the more pictures and videos we can get out there, it will, you know, maybe let people breathe a little bit easier and not have to rush back to check on their properties.
Right, and you know, and that's so important because, you know, you had a neighbor tell you how your home was. I had a neighbor tell me how my home was. And it's just a big sigh of relief when you finally get that word after worrying for days and hours on end what's going to happen. So to get that relief and you know, and if you're home, if you did stay and you hunkered down and you know, you're just getting out to survey the damage, let us know what you're seeing. Send us pictures, maybe some video, and we'll let your neighbors know. People are watching on YouTube from home on our YouTube channel. They're also watching on Facebook, and so they're watching and they're waiting. And so if you can, send some pictures to us so we can send that to them. We are approaching MacArthur Drive right now. You can see a little bit of damage to the stoplights. Right there at that intersection, but for the most part, not seeing really any major significant damage. Not really. I think I saw in the entire time we've been watching our storm tracker live, one tree down in the road, but that's pretty much it for now. So good news. But our storm tracker is still getting into the area of Orange County, starting the assessment process. So this is just beginning, but so far, no real significant damage that we're seeing. So we're going to continue staying with our photographer live as he makes a turn here. Let's see if we see anything here. And you're watching this with us live. You know, this is live. This is the first time we're seeing it, so it's the first time, you know.
Vanessa, I'm just smiling. I'm looking at
Yes.
all these businesses standing. And remember from Rita when you would drive through the streets after and you just thought, I don't even recognize this place, right? Now I'm seeing some electricity.
I grew up, Tracy, in Griffin Park of Port Arthur, all through junior high, all through high school. And I remember driving in with my mom after Rita. My dad, he was a first responder, stayed home to work. So we evacuated to the lakes area as soon as the storm blew through. Dad got us back in to come home. And we didn't know where to turn.
Yeah.
In a neighborhood I had lived in for years, and I couldn't tell you where to turn because signs were down, trees were everywhere, all that wind damage, and it was just, we were thinking this may have been the case here, and it could have been if that storm moved west just a little more. So we got very lucky, but if you went through Rita, you know how that was. It was so much damage, you just couldn't tell where some of the main thoroughfares or some of the main roads were in some of the cities.
Okay. Yeah, right. And Derry driving here for us this morning, Derry Shiloh, one of our amazing photographers on the morning show. We love Derry. He's telling us that he is seeing some damage as he's passing by. He's not able to capture all of it. The road's looking better than some of the side areas. So he said he is seeing some debris on the side of the road. I've seen a few of those there's some trees and debris across the roads there. But for the most part, looking much better. Like these are things that we can easily remedy, right? And some of those power poles I've seen kind of tip to the side, like that one there.
And that fence.
Yeah.
So we are seeing some of the damage, but nothing super, super severe. Jeff, what types of winds do this type of damage?
You can get 40, 50 mile an hour winds and see this type of damage across the area. So you can only imagine when they were getting 130 mile an hour winds over in Lake Charles, what they're seeing as far as damage. I want to show you a couple of different graphics. First of all, let's take a real quick look at radar because a lot of folks want to know, okay, what's going on with this storm. So we can look at radar for real quick here as we kind of check out Derry driving along. Maybe we won't check out radar here. Maybe we'll just follow Derry for a little while. But Can we pull up radar? Is that possible? There we go. All right, and great. We can watch Derry and you can watch me at the same time. Yeah.
All right. So neighborhoods, Jeff.
Yeah. and yeah, look at all the limbs down on the.
There are.
Yeah, yeah. But the storm here is still moving north. You can see the eye is almost not even visible anymore. It's starting to weaken quite a bit, and still seeing a pretty good swath of rain through parts of Jasper, Newton County. Still probably seeing some wind gusts there, upwards of maybe 30, 40 miles per hour. Now I want to switch over and I want to show you a couple of different graphics here. One we'll show you is rainfall estimates across southeast Texas. Now they're a little bit higher as you head over into parts of southwest Louisiana, but that's where the center of the storm was. But look at these numbers. We go from around 4 inches in orange to less than an inch as you head down through parts of Jefferson County, generally anywhere between about an inch to maybe 4 inches. So 1 to 4 inches as far as rainfall totals. Northern end of Newton County, about 3 inches. You head over towards Tyler County, maybe 1 to 2 inches there. Hardin County, maybe 1 to 2 inches. So rainfall totals way down. We didn't see the 4 to 8 inches that we were thinking we might see. Also want to take a look at wind gusts. Now these are highest wind gusts that I could get from the National Weather Service. In Beaumont, we did not see the eye of the storm, so about 58 miles per hour. Port Arthur, 72, so just under hurricane strength. Orange, 54. Now, 54 in Orange, but this was before the actual storm came on shore. I guess the anemometer there won out at 54 because we didn't get any reports after that, and that was right around about midnight or so. So I imagine you probably had a wind gust at maybe hurricane strength in Orange, and then in Jasper, 35, but you know the storm is just getting up towards them now, the center of the storm. Compare these numbers to Lake Charles, officially out the airport before they lost their anemometer and kind of lost their connection. They had power outages and stuff. They got to 132. So you can imagine if that storm was just another 30 miles off towards the west, these numbers would be a lot higher. So say 54 or 35 to 72, not too bad when you've got a strong category 4 coming in, and that's why we always say the west side is not as strong as the east side. So those folks getting quite a bit of rain, or quite a bit of heavy winds, and we got winds. You can see as Derry's driving around, a lot of tree limbs down. That's what we expect it when you're seeing a wind gust between say 35 and 72 miles per hour, but we're not seeing widespread structural damage. That's the kind of stuff they're seeing over towards Cameron Parish and over towards Calcasieu Parish in around the Lake Charles area. Right now we're seeing things starting to quiet down, and the things will continue to move out as far as the weather for today. Temperatures are going to be climbing up around 90 degrees this afternoon with partly cloudy skies. Expected not to see too much rain for this afternoon, but as we head towards tonight, we will see a little disturbance kind of coming off the Gulf of Mexico through the overnight hours, and we could see a little bit of, we've lost Derry there, but could see a little bit of rain going through the area through the overnight towards tomorrow morning. Some scattered showers, but they shouldn't add up to too much. So some scattered rain through the overnight with south winds at about 5 to 15. We'll see temperatures tonight in the 70s, and then our 7-day forecast showing good chance of rain all the way through Tuesday. Each afternoon, for the most part, we'll see rain chances around 50 to 60% with temperatures into the lower 90s. By the time we get in towards the middle of next week, it looks like those rain chances are going to come down to about 20% for Wednesday into Thursday, with temperatures there into the lower 90s. So like Judge Brannick said, we really kind of dodged the bullet with this one, since it took that last little jog towards the north and didn't come north and west. So definitely looking at a lot better conditions overnight through southeast Texas than we saw over parts of southwest Louisiana. Still some rain out there, still some heavy downpours through Jasper and Newton counties, but you can see the storm's lifting north, so this rain will be lifting out as well, and conditions are going to get a lot better as we go towards this afternoon. Folks can get out, pick up some of those limbs and things like that, and assess some damage, because it looks like before we lost Derry signal, there was a little bit of damage here and there, huh, Tracy?
Exactly, yeah, and as you mentioned, we dodged that bullet, but not everybody did, and just getting word from Sulphur, Louisiana, where a woman there actually, while she was sleeping, had the entire roof of her home ripped off. And she said it was much, much worse than she had anticipated. And that's the thing, you just don't know. And that's why we do each of those mandatory evacuations, because, as you mentioned, 20 miles further to the west, and it could have been a different story for us here.
A huge story as far as a lot more damage. So that little jog at the very end, we saw it going northwest, and then probably over the last 2 or 3 hours before it made landfall, it started to go directly north. So it went right up through southwest Louisiana.
Right. Have you heard anything about your family there? I know you have family in that area, Jeff.
My son lives over in Lake Charles, but they all evacuated to Baton Rouge. So they were out of the main center of the storm. They did get actually some tornado warnings yesterday, but it didn't affect them. But they went over to Baton Rouge. But my son's grandfather, who has built quite a fortress down in Grand Lake in Cameron Parish, decided to stay. I don't know what the situation with him is. They had, and there looks some street